What is up, guys? I hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering r/Tales from the Squad Car. If you appreciate new subreddits, why don't you click that like button right now, as it massively helps our channel. Also, if you click that subscribe, don't forget to click the bell and turn notifications to always on. You may have also noticed we've been given a little join button. I don't know why. No pressure to join, but if you do, it's always appreciated. And with that being said, let's get straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story is from What's Right, What's Legal. The day I learned there's what's right and what you're supposed to do, and it's not always the same thing. I was a rookie cop at the time, about 10 years ago. We were called out to get a statement from a father saying his 17-year-old boy ran away. It's a Tuesday at 2:30 in the afternoon. We roll up to question the father and get some details to start tracking down his boy. The father smelled of alcohol and was visibly drunk. The father also had a pretty aggressive tone with us. Anyway, we took his boy's details and called up some of his friends. I was there more for observation, as I let the more experienced partner handle the details. One friend told us he heard the boy was staying with another friend. They gave us an address, so we headed on over. We knocked on the door. We asked if the boy was at the residence he was. We asked to speak to the boy. After speaking to him, he told us that he'd just graduated high school and decided he was going to run away because he was tired of his father beating on him and constantly drinking. He had a couple of bruises on him. I believed his story. His father smelled of alcohol and had an aggressive tone with us, plus his boy did have battle scars that appeared to be abuse. We asked if the adults of the household were in. He said his friend's mum was at the house. We asked if we could speak to her. The friend's mum basically confirmed what the boy has told us. Ever since his mum passed away a few years ago, his dad had been drinking. He sometimes would get upset at the boy and beat him up. It wasn't uncommon for the boy to end up at their house, but this last time, they decided that since he had just finished high school and he planned to join the Air Force when he turned 18, he could stay with them. The mum begged us not to send him back to his dad. The mum told us that they had a spare bedroom he was staying in and that his son was sharing clothes, and they were planning on going shopping to get him some more necessities, and they were more than happy to give him a safe place to stay as long as he needed. We asked to speak to the boy. He was set to turn 18 in 4 months and was planning on joining the Air Force. He seemed like a well-behaved kid, claimed he had good grades and was always in talks with a recruiter. Said he'd already join if his dad would sign the paperwork, but his dad refused. The kid talked about how much more peaceful it is living with his friend and how he'd refused to return to his dad. He even told us if we tried to take him back, he'd put up a fight. He was crying. You could tell the thought of going back to his dad scared him to death. I was praying my partner would let the boy stay. My partner told him to go and get the mother again, and we wanted to speak to her one more time. My partner told the mother as long as she was fine with keeping him, he saw no need to take the boy back to his father, and he would be leaving. The mother thanked us, and we got back in the car. I asked my partner, so what are we going to do? My partner said, we aren't going to do a damn thing. I go, what do you mean? He said, the boy is safe, his father is an obvious alcoholic, the boy will be 18 in a few months, and he has a good shoulder on his head. I'm going to leave this one be. I asked, don't we have to report this? My partner said, I'll take care of that, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't know anything. I was curious on his take, and he said to me, you're going to learn that sometimes you have a choice. You can do what you're supposed to do, or you can do what's right, and sometimes they ain't the same thing, and this was one of those times, and I'm going to do what I think is right. And we pulled out the driveway and left. My partner explained to me it's not illegal for a 17-year-old to run away, but if we report it, the parents of the friend could get in trouble since they are keeping a runaway under their roof. If we reported, it's unlikely the boy would be forced to go back to his dad. However, there's a chance the mum could get in trouble. His concern was the safety of the boy, not necessarily having the boy stay with his dad, who is likely being abusive. And in his eyes, the boy was perfectly safe. I always remember that call, and I always remember that boy's name. He had a unique last name. We also live in the Air Force town. Very recently I pulled over an airman for speeding near the base. I asked for the driving license, and as I was going over everything, I noticed his last name. I asked him if it was the young boy from 10 years ago. He said it was him, and I told him I was one of the cops that he talked to that day. He started crying, asked if he could give me a hug. We were in a parking lot. I said sure, and there I stood, hugging this guy as he was thanking me for not sending him back to his dad. I did explain it was my partner's call to not do anything about it. Apparently, that boy stayed true to his word, said the day of his 18th birthday, he walked into that recruiter's office and enlisted. He told me he had a wife and a boy of his own, that he always appreciated us for not making him go back to his dad, and he hoped that one day he'd get to thank us. I gave him a warning for the speeding ticket. He laughed and said, "This is the second break you're giving me. Will I get a third?" And I said, "Chances are pretty low for a third break." He laughed and said, "Alright," and left. And this is the excellent written story and so wholesome and just beautiful all around, really, that you get a chance to see a difference you've made in someone's life and they've made a positive change as well. It'd be interesting to find out what happened to the dad, because unfortunately it doesn't say, but fair play to both of them. Absolutely amazing. Our next story is from Two Blue Zebras. State Trooper. Age is just a number. I was caught to a possibly drunk driver in a golf cart who was now refusing to get out of someone else's car. It was in a private community and security was already on the scene. I showed up to a house to find security, an older female, around 65 years old, and roughly a 40-year-old female. The younger one was sober and the older one clearly wasn't. The older one was in the passenger seat of an SUV with a golf cart parked nearby. "Good evening, what's going on?" I spoke to the younger female. I came home and found her in front of my house, on my steps, and a golf cart in my driveway. I don't know her. It was clear she was drunk, so I offered to drive her home and she accepted. I tried calling a couple of people she suggested, but I can't get hold of anyone, so I didn't want to just leave her, so I'm not sure what to do. "Okay, I'll see if I can give her a ride home." To the older female, "Good evening, what's your name?" "Amy." "Amy, how did you end up here tonight?" She shrugged. "Do you live nearby?" She shrugged again. "How much did you have to drink this evening?" She said, "Nothing." Refusing the other questions and answering this one told me that was clearly a lie. I said, "How about I give you a ride home?" "No." "Well, you can't stay in this nice lady's car all night. Just let me drive you home." "No." "Amy, look, we really only have two options here. Either you let me give you a ride home, or I have to take you to jail for public intoxication." "Take me to jail then." "Now I get to waste 2 hours." "Okay, get out." She did. I put her in handcuffs. "You're under arrest for public intoxication." I put her in my car and went to the golf cart. I couldn't find any keys to move it. I went to the other female and tried to get some more details and figured out what to do about the golf cart. I glanced back at my car and saw Amy outside of my car, no handcuffs, quickly shuffling away. Oh, come on. I jogged over to her with security guard following me. "Amy, stop." "No, you can't leave. You're under arrest." She whined, "No, I'm not." I grabbed her wrist and my other set of handcuffs. I put one side on and she decided to clamp her fingers around the other side. "Let go," I ordered while trying to remove her fingers. "Let go." She stayed clamped. "Let go or you're going to the ground." No change, so she went to the ground while myself and the security guard put her back in handcuffs. And I locked him a little tighter this time. She went from a minor public intoxication charge that usually gets dismissed to a resisting arrest charge that usually carries jail time. Normally, I'd also charge DUI for being drunk and driving a golf cart, but I couldn't find any keys and no one saw her driving. Can't charge a crime I can't prove. 3 months later. Similar call, 2 houses down, security guard on scene again. Call of a drunk lady in a golf cart. I arrive on scene to find Amy sitting in the driver's seat of the golf cart, key in the ignition. One witness in scene saw her driving it, and the security guard had footage from the gate and the golf clubhouse of her drinking and then driving away. She went to jail again. She struggled again. She got taken to the ground again. I put the handcuffs on tighter. She complained, "These are really tight." I retorted, "It only takes one mistake for me to learn my lesson." She grinned. That was only one time. The icing on top for me was that she had so many prior DUIs that I got to charge this one as a felony. She got convicted. What is with this lady in a golf cart? I imagine because she's had so many DUIs that's the only thing that she can drive, maybe. I don't know. Our next story is from Lawnman Actual. State Trooper. Traffic tickets are supposed to change driving behaviour. So, I work in a state which has a speed which, if exceeded, is a criminal offence. I generally only stop cars above the speed and write them civil citations, so cheaper fines. Defensive driving school will get the citation dismissed, no points added to the record. At this time, COVID-19 is in full effect. Not so much in my area, I'm in a rural area. Between cities, I experience it at different levels. Traffic is noticeably lighter than normal, about 9 AM on a weekend. Me and my sister squad have 1 trooper per area to cover 70 miles of interstate, 2 to 3 hours from each of the cities on either side of the interstate. Car gets stopped at 94 in a 75 mph zone, pretty good stop. Trooper gives the spiel about how the speed is criminal and what happens if cited criminally. Proceeds to issue civil citation for 90 mph over the limit. Easy day. Well, we document the stop based on the location we observed the violation, and the time we observed it. Well, 24 minutes and 21 miles past the last stop, I saw the same car. This time travelling 104 miles per hour in a 75 past my car. Not knowing about the last stop until I saw the court envelope sitting on the passenger seat of this BMW 328i. She said she was going down a hill. It was uphill. She started going down the hill at 85 miles per hour, still speeding, and she was just stopped, so she was paying attention to her speed. You need to remember, that's travelling 21 miles after being stopped for 8 to 12 minutes on a traffic stop in 24 minutes. Well, she invokes her Miranda rights when I read them to her. She's eventually arrested, car towed, taken to jail. Jail doesn't accept her because of the no COVID procedures, so I cite and release her from jail. Sheriff's office is kind enough to give her a ride back downtown to where her car was towed, about a 40-minute ride, so her mum could pick her up and the car about the same time. Slow down on your way home from college, kids. 104 miles per hour. Even if the roads are empty, that seems insane. In the UK, I think it's over 100 miles an hour. If you get caught doing that, is it you lose your license instantly? Or no, I think it's a driving ban instantly if you get caught doing over 100. Our next story is from Zizzle. Train Marshal, gaggle of team pickpockets. I work in a position that's between non-sworn law enforcement and security. We specifically do security and law enforcement on my country's train network. 95% plus of what we do is plainclothes or low visibility uniform. On this day, I was obviously uniformed doing deterrence by presence on a highly tourist train loop from the airport. What I was doing is starting in the front of the car, walking down the platform at each station, entering the back car and making my way forward between stations, just for maximum presence. I changed it up a bit at one stop, left the back car and walked up to the front on the platform to work my way back within the train between stops. In the number 2 car, I encountered some younger teenagers who were doing some of the most rapid fire pickpocketing I've ever seen. They locked eyes with me several times and still continued. The problem is, they weren't stealing any belongings, only cash money. It's easy for them to say it's their own money and impossible to discern what money is theirs or not. So really the only way to get a conviction is a very good observation with great documentation, or having them steal a belonging like multiple wallets or a passport. I decided to watch them and follow from a distance. Turns out, with each loop of the train, they were making their way fully up and down the train. It was a group of 4. Number 1 was fanning the area and signalling the actual pick for the best targets. Number 2 was actually removing the item from pockets or bags. Number 3 was pocketing the cash money and passing belongings to number 4. And number 4 was returning the belongings to pockets and bags. I can't grab all 4. At this point, I already had backup ready at the platform. Right as we were arriving, I grabbed 2 and 3 as I thought they were the highest priority. I announced myself as police, albeit unnecessary due to being uniformed, and got them. 2 is pulling away, 3 is wailing on me. I managed to keep hold of both of them as they were screaming that I was kidnapping them, despite being uniformed and announcing myself as police. My backup wasn't actually ready at the platform, but were just entering the station. Number 2 got away from me, but was caught by backup. Number 4 was caught by backup, number 1 escaped the station. Number 3 I'm wrestling with. She spat in my face a few times, was going for something in her pocket that she had her hand around, and at that point, I turned it into lights out time. I'm not big on the use of force, I hate hurting people, but I wasn't about to let her bring a weapon into the fight or spit on me more. Grabbed her by her hair plus shirt, tripped her and slammed her head first. That was lights out. Then an elderly tourist grabbed me by my belt trying to pull me away. They both ended up in handcuffs. The girl I had was fully unconscious, in fencing pose, with some obvious seizure-like activity. Translation: big time potential for brain injury. Lights out was very effective, and I felt bad. While searching her, I found she had OC spray, a switchblade, and knuckles with stabbing points. She was in possession of a mix of currencies that ended up getting to the equivalent of just over 6,700 US, or just over 6,300 euros. She was also in the possession of 2 passports. The elderly tourist I just handcuffed is now beating on me, so I set her down on her butt. It turned out that one of the passports stolen was the elderly tourist's UK passport. The girl, number 3, got brought to the hospital, was diagnosed with uncomplicated concussion, was handed over to parents who thought she was making money by lawful employment, were completely unaware of her pickpocketing. Number 1 was never found or identified. Number 2 was charged with simple theft, accessory to theft, and pickpocketing. Number 3 was charged with simple theft, receiving stolen property, accessory to theft, and minor possession of a restricted weapon. Number 4 was charged with accessory to theft. What I'd like to know is, was the elderly person charged as well for beating on you when you was trying to arrest someone and you was in uniform? I mean, what the hell, man? Anyway, guys, thank you for being here today. If you did enjoy this new subreddit, why not click that like button to show me you appreciate it, and I will get some new subreddits on this channel because I like reading new ones as well. Thank you very much for being here once again, and I will see you in the next one. Much love now.